Juan. The red light's on. I hope are you okay? You good? You nervous at all? No nervous?
No, this is looking forward to it. This is awesome. Is gonna be fun.
Cool. Well, let's start off with a quick sound check. What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
Breakfast this morning, couple white sourdough toast and a cup of tea. So,
okay. Very nice. Very nice. Is that the typical breakfast, or did you go a little out of the norm?
Oh, no, that's very much the typical thing. After I managed to have my kids stop yanking at my pajamas for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
very
that's
much
cool.
The usual morning these days of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's why I'm for our regular listeners, I'm in a remote location because my kids are currently at my office using it for school today because I didn't know that we had.
And you have nowhere to go.
Yeah, so I got kicked out. So I'm at home at the kitchen table where I'm supposed to usually be at the office. So, it's just the usual. It's just the usual stuff, right? The pandemic, trying to do a podcast and run a business. But, well, instead of talking about breakfast food and our children, why don't you actually introduce yourself and tell my listeners who you are and what you're doing over on Kickstarter right now?
Yeah. So my name is Juan. I am co-founder and CEO of Unit 1. We are a sports tech startup, originally started in sports tech. We're moving into urban mobility. And we're live in Kickstarter with our campaign of FARO. FARO is a smart urban helmet, with a bunch of bells and whistles and really kind of a stylish / techy approach to helmets.
Yeah,
it's doing pretty well so far. 3 weeks in, really, really happy and very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's great. So for our people who haven't seen it or don't know, let's walk us through what's making this helmet smart, what's making it very cool looking. I mean, I've seen the page, so I know what I'm looking at. But for those people who haven't seen it yet, kind of walk us through what it looks like.
Yeah, actually, I have one right here.
Oh, nice.
This is it. This is actually the poor thing. This was our first ever prototype. It's already pretty banged up. It survived, I think, 3 photo shoots. It's a miracle this thing is even alive. But it'll help me illustrate a couple points. So this is our helmet. Now the special things about FARO are 2. So what we did, we looked at what were the barriers keeping people from wearing helmets, which is kind of the main problem we wanted to solve. Because people don't wear helmets enough, and that kind of feeds into how dangerous cycling in cities is, and a bunch of problems after that. But the main problem was, why do people don't wear helmets? So we looked at that, and it's very much style driven. So people consider helmets to be ugly, uncomfortable. They just don't want to be seen on them. They don't like how they look on helmets. A lot of people think they're unnecessary. That's a different subject to tackle. And so we just decided to try to bring these barriers down and have more people wear helmet, which is obviously a challenge because right now helmets have the same reputation as that of a seatbelt. You wear it because you have to. You're not awesome. You're not super psyched about strapping in. It's part of your life now, but helmets is the same. And most helmets, like seat belts, only work for you that second you get hit. God forbid. Hope it doesn't happen. But if it does, that's where the helmet or the seat belt comes into play, right? Mm-hmm. Everything else is just there. If you're driving through a quiet town or riding and there's nobody around, you're going to think, why am I wearing this, right? So we did a helmet that kind of did it all, if you will. So the first thing we did, we made it stylish. Stylish in a way that you could think of a helmet as an accessory, something you actually want to wear, something you like how it looks, you like how you look on it, something that can be even part of your outfit. As you can see, this thing is very, very sleek, very simple, clean lines, not a bunch of stuff added in there. Everything is very well integrated, and we put our hearts and souls into making this as beautiful as a helmet can be. And I'm pretty stoked about this. Apparently, people are too. So I can safely say we did that right.
Yep.
And then the second thing we did is we added lights to it. So it's got integrated lights, and that goes towards the seatbelt point. Mm-hmm. A helmet that only works for you the second you get hit. That's one thing that's usual. A helmet that makes you visible, especially at night, all the time. Not just works for you when you get hit or if you get hit. It just works for you constantly, always making you visible. And it turns out visibility is one of the key issues when it comes to road safety. So if drivers or motorists see you, you're much, much less likely to get involved in an accident. So we just tapped into that as well. In paper, it all looks good. It all looks doable until we actually set out to do this thing. It turns out if you start adding lights to a helmet, they get ugly pretty fast.
Right.
That's just it's just math. It's just
big light over here on your
exactly bells and whistles, and then okay, so this is not what we wanted. Right. So it was a challenge to bring all these elements together in such a way that they don't really bother you and they're just part of the design.
Yeah.
So FARO has a front light, a back light. These are very quite small, elongated, and really razor sharp lights. They're really, really focused, really, really high powered. And they're designed for long distance visibility. These are the ones that are going to make you visible under the rain, at a distance. You don't miss this. Actually, a funny story, during the photo shoot, nighttime photo shoot, middle of the city, you can imagine, ton of people biking around. And it was really, really easy to pick our guy apart. It was like, there he is, like 5-6 blocks away. There he. So that's what these lights are for. Now, remember the whole adding lights to a helmet challenge. It's true. You add more stuff in it. It no longer is clean or sleek or simple. All the things we wanted it to be. Mm-hmm. So what we did is we added a bunch of lights that you don't see. So beneath this fabric liner you see here, there's 46 LEDs hidden beneath the fabric. Yeah, it's awesome. We call it. It wasn't our best, most inspired moment. We call it hidden light, right? So it's a light you can only see when it's on. When it's off, you have this super sleek fabric liner that is tear-proof, waterproof. Anything proof, really. Yeah,
it just looks like it's like a part of the helmet too. It doesn't. You wouldn't even know.
Exactly. It's like it's a helmet with fabric on it. Cool.
Right.
And then at night, when you actually need it, there's this entire panel that lights up. And because it's so big, you get to do stuff like animations and custom patterns. And actually, our focus with this part is communication. Remember, this was super razor sharp focused LEDs for long distance visibility. And this is much, much bigger. So it's aimed at communications. We have, turn signals here, a brake light, cool animations happening beneath the fabric, stuff that you can only do with a big area. You couldn't do it with this little strip, right? Yeah. And that's how these two lights kind of work together. Top takes care of your visibility. Bottom takes care of your communication, especially with other riders or drivers. Mm-hmm. And the kicker is that you don't see it unless you have them on, in which case you'll have to. But everything else is just, it's like they're not even there, which is what we wanted. We wanted this thing to be, sleek and clean and simple. Imagine what this would look like with a bunch of LEDs there. It would be, it would not be it would be a sore sight.
Well, for sure. Yeah, a lot of people would go back to that first thing like, I'm not wearing that thing. What are you talking about?
Exactly, which is what we wanted to solve in the first place.
Right. That's great. So in that process for you guys as a company, like what was the first step, right? How did you, I know that's a prototype, but like what was even before that where you're like, all right, this kind of does what we want it to do. What did that look like?
Well, it was, the usual process usually takes about, 12, 16 months. That's what it takes to design, develop, and launch a product. This is not our first product. We started out with a ski and snowboard helmet with integrated headphones, walkie-talkie, the whole thing. That was our first product. Another crowdfunding campaign back in Indiegogo.
Okay.
We started with that. We had a pretty successful crowdfunding, delivered to all our backers, then delivered more product after that, and pretty much sold around a couple thousand helmets throughout the world.
That's cool.
And then this was a product that we launched officially into the market last October.
Okay.
So sold out pretty quick, thankfully, before the whole pandemic hit. And then, well, the whole circus shut down, as you very well know. Yep. Each of us had a different version of it, but it's pretty much the same. Everything just grinds down to a halt. It's like, oh shit, what do we do now?
Yeah.
And we knew that we wanted to get into urban mobility already. This was supposed to happen next year. But then we were, locked in, our whole team at home. And we said, let's bring this into 2020. I mean, we're not going to sit on our butts for 6 months and see what happens. So that 10, 12 month process, we shrunk it down to 6, which was lunacy. I might say.
Wow.
It was.
Yeah, that is.
I'm
great.
not sure it was it wasn't our brightest idea, but it had to be done. So we just shrunk it down and pretty much put the entire team to work day and night on this. And in 6 months, believe it or not, this went from a nothing, like not online on paper, nothing, to this thing I'm holding right here, which is doing pretty well on Kickstarter. And thankfully, it's being was warmly welcomed by the Kickstarter community, by the writing community as a whole. So that was intense.
So yeah,
to answer your question.
Yeah.
How did this come about? Thankfully, it wasn't our first time around. Otherwise, we couldn't have done it in the short term that we did it. Right. So it was insane. We had to put our marketing team, our design team, and our engineering team, which usually work like a step-by-step thing. We just mashed them all together. And it was ultimately the best thing we could do for the product, because we had designers and marketing people thinking together about what kind of product we needed to build in the first place. And once that was clear, then the first line came about, and then we continued with the process. So it was different, but I think it was different in a good way.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I think it's always good that sometimes you have to sort of shake up things, right? Like just, hey, just look at it a little bit differently, put other eyeballs in here, put other thoughts, have that open communication. Like there's no wrong answer sometimes, right? Like just throw it all out there, see what happens. So in that process, what are you looking for in terms of, as you're prototyping, as you're putting together, to make sure that you're, getting to that core, some of those core things you talked about right in the beginning, right? We wanted to look good. We wanted to, we wanted to have these functions, right? We want people to want to wear it, right? We want to get rid of these things. But as you're building these prototypes, how are you making sure that you're staying on course and not, we just added this new feature that sticks out, and now all of a sudden it's like, how are you sort of navigating that world? Because I think for a lot of startup companies, that's a challenge, right? When you're putting together a product, not to go too far, not to go too little, not to say, we don't want to work on that feature too much. How do you kind of navigate that world?
Well, we like I said, what we did first, this is our second time around, so I think we were less anxious the first couple of years, and we conducted ourselves, even though we were rushed for real. We took it slow when we had to take it slow, and that was the main part of, okay, let's think, what product are we building? I mean, we're doing a helmet. Okay, what kind of a helmet? Where is it going to be positioned in the market? What's going to be the price point, or at least the price range? Yeah. What are going to be its key features? And then once we had that, then you don't deviate from that, because that's when mistakes start happening. You don't just improvise and add some bells and whistles on it because your aunt thought it was a good idea. Mm-hmm. So we keep that course steady. But we were lucky enough to get a lot of people involved in this. We ran a beta program with close to 40 urban riders from throughout the world. So big cities, so San Francisco, LA, New York, Berlin, London, a ton of cities world over, with different kind of landscapes for cycling, but and we had them be involved in the process. And this was kind of cool because we just literally straight up asked them, do you like this? Do you hate this? Just give it to us. Just, straight. We don't care. And that was so cool because we had, it was like a 40 plus addition to our design team with people with like their combined experience being poured into this product. And it ironically was a time saver because instead of, doing something in your own team, which you have 4 or 5 people to bounce stuff off. Right. Imagine doing that with 40. Yeah. Yes, it's slower, but once you do something, it's done and it's more solid. So we took these this slow steps, but really solid steps. And once we got at pre-launch day, which was October 6th, we said, this is our product. There's not going to be any stretch goals. This is going to be our product. We strive to get to the best product from the get-go. We don't like the stretch goal mentality of, if we do that, then we'll make it better. Which is, would rather have it the best it can be on day one. Which is not to say we're pick-headed and don't listen to our community, because what happened is pretty quickly into the launch. The Kickstarter community is beautiful and we love it. They're also very vocal. Right. And they're not very subtle either.
No, not at all.
And it was like our kitchen was on fire. Everyone was like, this needs to be a Type C return. So it was like, damn it. How do we miss this? Because we actually, thought about it and we had decided for micro USB instead. And it was so strong a voice, a combined voice from, hundreds of backers. And we actually took that back to our suppliers and we did the whole pricing analysis and the whole nine yards. And then we came back and we said, you were right. This needs to be Type C. We apologize for that. And now FARO is Type C. So that was the one adjustment that we made. That's cool. That needed to be done. But other than that, we've been able to keep it clean and keep it from being too meddled with, if you will, if you know what I mean. Because
100%.
That allows us to, be straight with our suppliers and to have a more clear vision of how it is we're going to bring this thing to market. Because the day the campaign ends, sure, cheers. We'll have a toast, and then it's back to work, man. Because it's a ton to be done.
That's cool. Now, it seems like the company itself really strives for this community engagement, right? I mean, you've done crowdfunding before, you're doing a Kickstarter now, but even this idea of bringing 40 people in there to hear their voices, their opinions, their ideas, that isn't typical for a lot of companies. Is that something you guys are openly like, we're very comfortable in this. We want to take in feedback. We want to hear people's voices. And I say that because, most of our listeners are people thinking about running a campaign or they're in the startup world. How do you open yourself up to vulnerability, not taking anything personal, right? Like, no, it has to be USB. It has to be, how do you sort of navigate that and make sure that culture's in your company so that you're actually benefiting from it, right? Like you're listening and making a better product.
Well, being a startup and being a small team means that everyone around you is going to have an opinion. Right. Everyone, your mother, your aunt, they're going to be pretty strong and capable opinions, and there's going to be opinions that you have to ignore. So every entrepreneur knows that you have to have thick skin, and nothing can get to you because otherwise you won't last the day. That being said, there is a degree, like you said, there's a degree of vulnerability, and open up your design process to 40 strangers. Yes. Hell, there's vulnerability in a crowdfunding campaign.
Right.
You're putting a product out there for everyone to criticize.
Right.
They can do a ton. I mean, Kickstarter backers are like super powerful during the campaign. That comment section is like, whew. I mean, you have to tread carefully there, right? But it's part of the game, and we love being a part of this. This is a first time in Kickstarter, not crowdfunding, but yes, in Kickstarter. we're loving that. This is they're very vocal, which is awesome. I mean, you got to learn how to deal with that, but it's great. And as far as bringing people into our process goes, we didn't do anything too crazy. We started with direct contacts of our team, and then contacts of theirs, and that's where we stopped. So it's like you're my friend. I'll go as far as your friends,
right?
And that's as far as I go. So that was our way to say, okay, we're not going to have, I don't know, some agent of the competition being part of this process, you know?
Right.
So we have to be careful, obviously, but I don't know. Maybe we could be way more paranoid, and a lot of people will say you should be, but we love doing this process with people, and it's no accident that we're doing our third crowdfunding campaign now, and that we call it this crowdfunded design, the whole beta thing, because we essentially had 40 people in just weigh in with their opinions and call us out on stuff that they didn't like, and in a way, it was like getting us ready for crowdfunding, because everyone is going to have an opinion, and you have to learn to live with that. That's cool. Extract some value if you can.
Right. Now, over this period of time from, starting the idea, pandemic, to where we are right now with this Kickstarter being active, what was the thing that was keeping you and your team up at night? What was the thing that, like, man, we have to get this right in this process?
You mean for the product or for the campaign itself?
I think all of it. Like, just the thing that, like, we are, we know we can do the helmet, but we got to make sure this Kickstarter is right. Or we know we're going to do good well in the Kickstarter, but we got to make sure the lights work. Or what was there just something that you're like, this is the thing we have to really make sure we nail?
I think it was product positioning. So this was a very widely discussed topic in the beginning, and I think it still is. What kind of helmet do we need to make our entry into urban mobility? Because we're not a part of this as a company. We're not a part of this world as persons, as people. Yeah, we are. We all bike to work. We know the drill. But as a company, this was our entry into the urban mobility, and how you want to do that largely determines the product that you're going to do it with.
Right.
And we have our team is composed from designers, engineers, marketers, business builders, entrepreneurs of all sorts, bike riders, skiers, snowboarders, crazy people. We love our team. And what happens when you have such a passionate team is you want to do everything. You want to just add stuff in, because I want the helmet to do this, I want the helmet to do that. And then what happens is your bill of materials starts piling up, and then you have to sell the product for a much higher price than you originally wanted.
$3,000 bike helmet.
Exactly. Right. I mean, it would be awesome for sure, but who wants a $3,000 bike helmet? So that's the thing we are constantly keeping in check. So it's every product-based decision we make is validated by a lot of people that are gonna bring in their opinion from their different places. So engineer is gonna give his opinion from an engineering standpoint, or pricing or sourcing standpoint, and then marketing guys gonna come in and say, okay, so these are the helmets in the market, these are the prices, we need to be around here, and then it's a collective kind of approach, and we constantly have to keep each other in check. Because otherwise, you risk overdoing something and ending up with a product that is not consistent with that kind of strategic direction you wanted to take in the beginning.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Now, it sounds like you guys were thinking crowdfunding was a part of this, no matter what. This product. I mean, like, you were going to go to a platform. What made the decision to go from Indiegogo to Kickstarter for this one?
That was also widely debated. First up, Kickstarter, starting with Kickstarter allows you to later on go into Indiegogo on demand. Right. You can't do the inverse of that. Obviously, having an Indiegogo campaign is not the same as having an in-demand campaign, but you kind of have at least access to that community, which we love, and we've been there twice, and we're going there after Kickstarter. But this time around, we wanted we want to have, Kickstarter has more of a kind of raw, more powerful local community, more active.
Yeah. Yep.
And we started the first days in. And we wanted that. We wanted to experience that. And as we move into this kind of a circuit in which we design and develop and build cool products that we later on launch via crowdfunding, we want to have better control of this. And that meant tapping into the biggest crowdfunding community there is,
right,
which is Kickstarter. So if you're serious, if you're serious on this, which we are, it just made sense to start in Kickstarter. And I think it was the right call.
Yeah. What were you looking for? Was there any, or I guess maybe a better question is there any data points you were looking for to know that you were ready to launch? Again, we want to have X amount of emails, or you've done this in the past. We're feeling good. Was there a date in mind? Did the election play into any of this stuff? Like, what were you guys thinking of? We know we're ready to go today,
Well, we knew it was the other way around. We knew it had to be October 6th. And that was because of the elections in right about now, beginning of November. We wanted to have a solid month before the elections. Unpolluted traffic, unpolluted attention.
Right.
I mean, the whole thing is a circus, and all eyes are there. So we knew that we wanted to have a clean month before that. We knew that we wanted, an X amount of emails, sure. But the challenges were to get the certainties we needed at a product level before. So before we put any feature up in a landing page or an email or Instagram or the campaign itself, we needed to be absolutely sure that whatever we were putting up there was not only doable, was doable on time, was cost effective, and was profitable in a way that it makes sense to push a business with this product. And we didn't want to overpromise and underdeliver. Yeah. We didn't want to put up a date that we could not fulfill later on. We didn't want to put up a feature that we could not fulfill. So we made sure that everything we were saying FARO is going to do, it will do. And that was the main time crunch. And that was the all-in that we had to pull, the all-nighters before the campaign. That's where it went, to make sure that everything that's on the campaign is doable and true to the product. Otherwise, you're in trouble.
Yeah, we didn't want that. Big time. Yeah, especially in this community. Like, no, I was promised.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I loved about the page too is I think you guys did an amazing job of content. Like, you can tell who this audience is. It's right to the point. What was sort of the process to make sure that you're grabbing the right content to tell the story, to show who this user is, who's going to love this helmet, and make sure you're checking off all those boxes? Because again, I think this is a big misstep for a lot of Kickstarter campaigns is there just isn't good content and story for me to go, I'm into this thing. So, but how did you guys sort of navigate that and make a page that looks as good as it does?
Well, for us, telling a story is literally a livelihood. This is a company that revolves around its products. And I say products, a couple months ago, it was product as in one. So we need to be able to show our products in such a way that they tell a compelling story. And to be honest, it helps that we picked products that have so strong backstories in the first place. Like this thing, firstly, can save your life.
Yep.
Let's just start with that. It's like this thing can literally save your life. Okay. What's the problem with helmets in general? We address those points dead on, without fears. Like, helmets are ugly. Okay. Helmets are uncomfortable. Okay. I get that. Helmets are to some unnecessary. Okay. And we just addressed point by point what we thought were the problems with that mentality. Actually, some of the problems are with the mentality, and some of the problems are with just the product offering in general. Mm-hmm. Helmets are considered ugly because most of them are. Right. Helmets are uncomfortable because most of them are as well. It's not rocket science. We've all done that, and that is true. So we kind of made sure that those pain points were addressed, and that we showed rather quickly at the beginning of the page that we showed why our product hits those pain points and can, we think, capture a solid position in the market because it does.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, let's flip over a little bit to the actual Kickstarter, because we haven't actually talked about some of the numbers. So while we're talking right now, there still is about 19 days to go. You had a $20,000 goal, and you're currently at $355,000. So this is a monster campaign right now. It's only going to get bigger. Over 1,900 backers, which is great. So I'm wondering, like, what's something that maybe has stood out behind the scenes in this campaign that you guys maybe didn't expect? Like, oh, we have a big audience in the Philippines or whatever it might be. Has there been something that you guys were like, man, I just did not expect this, but this is awesome, right?
We expected it to be much more US centric. We expected kind of almost a 60-40 split in favor of the US, and then mainly Europe. And Europe was much, much stronger than we had foreseen. Wow. And UK really stood out. It was like, crap, this was not, I mean, amazing. Don't get me wrong. This was amazing, but we just didn't expect it to be, which is healthy. It means that your audience is just showing up, because you don't know who to call, right? In the first place, like, I think I got audiences here and there, but we don't really know. And then the campaign is up, and then you actually see it coming together, which was insane. Another surprise that we did not expect in the first week or so of the campaign being live, and remember, this is a market that we did not exist in 2 months ago. We were continuing to be actually flooded by retail requests, which is something that we also did not expect. I mean, we were going to work our retail plan after the campaign, closer to actual launch, and which makes sense, because I mean they want samples and all that. But that was amazing. That was it's just traction that just up and hits you in the face, and we love it. That this is already getting this kind of a natural traction from the people that are selling cycling-based products throughout the world. People from Australia, Singapore. Obviously, our main markets: U.S., UK, Germany, France, Spain, Italy. The big cities: Canada, South America, Australia. From the world over, we never, not in a million years, expected that kind of a reaction from the retail side of things, as well as the actual market. Because the campaign is beyond our wildest dreams at this point, and we still have like 19 days to go. So we're really, really excited about this.
Now, this campaign seems like it's a relatively long campaign. Was there a strategy around going longer than shorter? What was kind of the conversations around that?
Yeah, so we knew that the elections were going to be right in the middle, and there was going to be a dip in attention, performance, the whole thing. I mean, all eyes are there, and understandably so, right? But so we knew that was going to be a kind of a dip, and we decided to have a longer campaign, essentially because we wanted to put it out there for as long as we could, to have our product, being available to backers for as long as we could. We take our responsibilities towards our backers very, very seriously, and we said, okay, let's just have it out there for as long as we can. Let's get as many pre-orders as we can, and the bigger this is, the better everything's going to be after. The bigger order we put with our suppliers, the bigger splash we make in this new market that we're getting into. So the whole be as big as it can be. That was the reason behind the longer campaign duration. Gotcha.
Now, for a campaign like this too, with you guys shipping, it looks like, I mean, you're shipping to most countries, right? Your audience is most countries,
everywhere.
Right? Yeah. How are you guys approaching a product like this with shipping and handling? Because again, I know that this can be a huge, huge problem for a lot of companies, shipping a bulky item anywhere or whatever it might be. How are you guys sort of navigating those waters to make sure that you're not, spending $300 to ship something to this random island, Yeah.
Oh, because we did that once, and we know that we don't want to do it again.
Right.
We went through all those hoops our first time around.
Yeah.
And then our second time around, we improved upon that, and we intend to do so again. And at this moment, we are lucky enough to already have a pretty robust logistics circuit already built. We have our warehouse in California to fulfill all US orders. We have a warehouse in Rotterdam that can fulfill all European-based orders. Asia-based orders can be fulfilled directly from our factories in China. And like we kind of have it covered. There's a couple countries here and there that will be fulfilled directly. And if we garner enough amount of units, we'll just consider doing a small hub over there. But I think we got this covered. Basically, I mean, this is just because it's going to be our third time around, and we just did it twice already. We shipped product to backers. We shipped product to regular customers, like regular purchase with regular customers. We imported goods. We handled returns. We handled mistakes that we are very likely not going to do again. Thankfully, I'm not going to say this is going to run smooth as butter because you do encounter problems. But the fact that we have a team that has tackled these things before makes us, I think, well prepared to tackle these problems if they arise, which they always do.
Yeah, there's always something.
It's something, small or big, but there always is something.
Yeah. So with this, so the campaign ends in a couple more weeks, and then you got a couple weeks before the money drops. But what starts happening on your guys' end to get these helmets out to backers' hands?
Actually, it never stopped. I mean, the campaign is out there, but we are working around the clock with our suppliers. More prototypes are being built. The last ones, we're going into tooling quite soon. We have this whole schedule with our suppliers to make sure that we are on time. Coordinating containers with our logistical partners, coordinating last mile with our fulfillment partners. Just it's all been going on. We never actually stopped because if you stop, then you kind of miss. You burn through a month and a half of good work towards this product being shipped on time, and you don't want to do that. So essentially, we never stopped.
Yeah. What for a company like yours, this may be a more advanced question for some of our listeners, but because you have other products, how do you make sure that you're not losing focus on maybe the other part of the business because it's all Kickstarter and it's all this? Like, how do you make sure that all of our products are getting some love? We're not forgetting about you over here. Is that a challenge at all for the company?
Oh, it is. A small team means limited focus. It's just math. There's just so many things you can think of as a person. And so that is a challenge. It's always been a challenge, actually. It was a very mono product up until a couple months ago. So this is kind of new to us. But to answer your question, we make sure we carve out some time for business as usual because we are still a company. We're still operating. You can go buy our snow helmet right now. It's available. It's being shipped. It's on the store right now. Our focus, of course, being FARO because it kind of needs all the love we can give it right now. It's more of a younger baby, if you will. The other one's like it's almost like a teenager. He's okay. He's doing okay. He can handle us not checking on him every second. But we by no means that means neglecting your teenage child. Right.
That's funny. So what does like the next year sort of look like for you guys in the company? And then after that, maybe what's the next 5 years? Maybe what's like a big roadmap? Where do you guys kind of see yourself in the future here?
Awesome question, actually. And we were debating this with investors not yesterday. We're kind of in a bit of a juncture as a company, and we found a level of traction in this urban mobility space that just cannot be ignored. This is too much to ignore. And having the skill set in-house to design, build, develop, and launch products, market them, communicate them, build a community around them, sell, fulfill, ship, import, the whole cycle.
Yeah.
That means that we're very well suited at just designing products that solve problems that people are having, and build a business around that. That's what Unit One is about. So this crowdfunding thing kind of fits well into that as well, because it allows us to measure traction ahead of time. It allows us to pretty much take a temperature of the market and have a feel of how this product will be received ahead of time before actually manufacturing. And we want to keep doing that. That's the answer to your question, is we want to do more of this. We are actually deciding on what our next products are going to be. We're going to be launching 2-3 more products, probably urban mobility based, in the next couple of years. So you're going to see at least one Kickstarter a year from us from now on. Because we decided that we want to keep doing this. This is too good to stop doing. We have the skill set to pull it off over and over, and we just want to do that. So to answer your question, Unit One is going to a place. It's going to be very much a product-based company. We're betting bigger in urban mobility, but we will still retain a second base on snow sports, which is our first steps, our kind of a birthplace, if you will. We all love that. We're not letting that go for no means. And we're kind of moving these two spaces forward simultaneously, and just building products for these verticals, and then having all of that be contained under the umbrella that is Unit One, which awesome. Hopefully one day will be synonym of product-based innovation, tech-infused products that actually solve problems. That's where we'd like to be in a couple of years.
That's awesome. Well, let's flip over. Let's do a quick little lightning round here, and then I'll get you on your way because you're in the middle of a Kickstarter campaign. So, questions that have nothing questions that have nothing to do with crowdfunding here. So, what have you been watching in the old Netflix, Hulu streaming world? What's caught your eye there?
All right. I was addicted to the Drive to Survive thing on Netflix. I was a stranger to Formula One before that. I'm addicted now. Okay. Thank you for that. So that was one. I think I'm rewatching Modern Family for the third time in a row now.
That's a good show.
Keep coming back to that. It's just it just makes me laugh. So that's most of my binge watching. Not a lot of that lately, because the whole working day and night thing is not.
I mean, you're in it right now. How about is there a movie at all that you've watched recently, like an actual movie, not a 12-part series on Netflix or anything like that?
I've been meaning to get back to movies. I think that's been neglected in favor of TV shows because of. I just can't seem to get like a solid 2 hours in front of the TV without being interrupted by a kid, or the campaign, or a comment I have to deal with, or something. So shows are come in bite-sized pieces.
Bite-sized chunks.
You can just exactly.
Yeah. You can. It's like Halloween candy. You can eat like 12 little bite-sized chunks of Snickers. But man, if I said I ate 4 Snicker bars in a day. Yeah,
you'll feel bad. Yeah.
I ate all 100%. These little small ones. That's cool. How about a book? You reading anything right now?
I am. I'm halfway across Dune, which was sadly abandoned, and I have to get back to it. I think over the holidays I'll just because I have a bunch of books in the just waiting for me. Really, I just see them and it's like I'll get back to you. So I have I'm at book 2 on Game of Thrones. I'm halfway across Dune. I have more to read that I could read in a lifetime, sadly, and that's just I have to just deal with that. A lot of stuff just got
Yeah, you just push it off. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. So, push for later.
How about podcasts? Is there anything that you listen to? Obviously, besides my podcast, but is there anything else you listen to?
Yeah, the first million in it's the podcast done by The Hustle, which I really enjoy.
They're the ones that have the newsletter too, right? Don't they have a cool newsletter?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get their newsletter all the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's I do as well for the past couple of years. I love them. They're just it's kind of a light thing to read, but it's still business. So you kind of feel it's still useful. It's not like just purely laughs. So I love that about them. And their podcast is great as well.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. Well, where should people, if they want to kind of dive into your world, where should we send them? Outside of the Kickstarter, how do they get in your guys' your universe here?
So our website, unit1gear.com. That's where everything is. Instagram handle @unit1gear. We're pretty active in there. There's ton of stuff about FARO, our urban helmet. There's ton of stuff about Sound Shield, our winter sports helmet. And we're pretty active these days and loving the way that it's already bigger than Kickstarter. There's just a ton of stuff happening, a lot of people coming our way, and we love it. So the website, Instagram, or the campaign page itself is a good place to learn all about us. And just shoot us an email at contact@unit1gear.com. We're always happy to chat with fans, supporters, or consider partnerships, or everything. So those would be the main channels, I think.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know it's busy, a lot of stuff going on, but for all our listeners out there, go check out this campaign. It's a beautiful built page, lots of great content, great product. It just checks off all the boxes, man. It's a great campaign. So, well, good luck over the next 19 days, and I'll be watching from my end because it's a really, really great campaign, man. So congrats on that, and good luck in the future. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.